Hello fans and friends, welcome to another video. My name's Keir Smith and today I want to share with you 10 of my favourite albums from an era where it seemed as if everyone wore blue jeans, Adidas trainers, Fred Perry tops. This is the 90s, this is the Britpop era. To me, the classic Britpop era ran between 1994 and 1997. Some may argue it started a year before and finished a year later, but certainly the 10 albums that I've chose here were released between 1994 and 1997. And just for fun, I've ranked them from 10 down to number 1, least favourite to favourite. My number 10 choice is this album. This is Cast, Mother Nature Calls, from 1997. This is their second album. They had a big success with their first album, All Change, with big hits like Walk Away and All Right, but I consider this to be a stronger album. It had big hit singles too: Free Me, Live the Dream, I'm So Lonely and Guiding Star. Elsewhere, Mirror Me is a great song, Dance of the Stars, a really good album closer, and John Power and the band were really on form with this album, and that's my number 10, Cast, Mother Nature Calls. My number 9 choice is this album. This is the Charlatans, Telling Stories, from 1997. And the Charlatans had been around for 5 or 6 years. They'd had a few good albums out and a string of hit singles with The Only One I Know, Then, Sprost and Green. But this was their most cohesive sounding album to date. And big hit singles too: North Country Boy, One to Another, How High. The title track, Telling Stories, is a big favourite of mine, and I've seen the Charlatans live a few times over the years, and they always put on a good show. Good band, really good album. My number 9, Telling Stories. Another one from 1997, my number 8 choice is Supergrass, In It for the Money. And this was their second album. They had a big hit, of course, with their first album, I Should Coco, and again, this one was just a step on for me. They big hits from this. Richard III was a barnstorming single. Late in the Day was great. Sun Hits the Sky. They did a great cover version of the Smiths' Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others on the B-side of the Sun Hits the Sky single. And I saw Supergrass live. I saw them support Oasis at Wembley Arena in 1997. And when me and my brother talk about that gig, we always look at each other and say, Supergrass were good, weren't they? And they were really good. I really like Supergrass. My number 8, In It for the Money. My number 7 choice is this album. This is Gene, Drawn to the Deep End, also from 1997. And this too is their second album. They had a small success with their first album, Olympian, which was really good. But again, this is a marked improvement. Their songwriting craft had improved, and the guitar work on this album is of a high standard. And this too had big hits: Fighting Fit, We Could Be Kings, But Elsewhere. Great songs like Save Me, I'm Yours, The Accidental. And some people say that Martin Rossiter sounds a lot like Morrissey when he sings, but no less brilliant for that. This is a really good album. Drawn to the Deep End by Gene. My number 6 choice is this album. This is Pulp, Different Class. And it is. They had a big breakthrough with the previous album, His and Hers, with big hit singles like Babies and Do You Remember the First Time? But this one sent them overground. By the end of 1995, everybody knew who Pulp was. And big hit singles with Misshapes, Common People, of course, Disco 2000, and Sorted for Ease and Whiz. Elsewhere, Feeling Called Love, Pencil Skirt, fantastic stuff. Jarvis Cocker is a truly unique songwriter, and this is a great album. Pulp, Different Class. My number 5 choice is this album. This is Cooler Shaker, K, from 1996. A hugely popular album, and they seem to come from out of nowhere with this heavy bluesy rock and Eastern influences too, which reminded me of the Beatles, and I just thought it was so cool what they were doing, and riding high in the singles charts with these strange singles like Govinda and Tatva. Elsewhere they had Grateful When You're Dead and Hey Dude, and Crispian Mills is a really good songwriter and a fantastic guitarist, and this really is a sublime album. I urge anyone to investigate it if they don't already know it. My number 5 is Cooler Shaker, K. My number 4 choice is this album. This is Oasis, Be Here Now from 1997. And of course, What's the Story, Morning Glory and definitely Maybe are two staples of the Britpop era. But again, I just thought that this was a stronger album. It was so eagerly anticipated. I was so excited to go and get it. It actually came out on the 21st of August, which was the day I was due to get my exam results from school, and I was so excited to get the album. I went into town first and saw getting Be Here Now as a more important thing to do than picking up my exam results. I didn't do that well anyway, so but yeah, fantastic album. Do you know what I mean? My Big Mouth, Stand By Me was a big hit single all around the world. How overblown but brilliant that was. I love this album, Be Here Now. My number 3 choice is this album from 1995. This is Blur, The Great Escape. And this was the follow-up to their much-loved Parklife album. And as good as that is, I just, again, think this one is a little bit better. I like the songs on this album a lot more. And I was a huge Oasis fan at the time. And I enjoyed country house. And a school friend of mine, Alex Marshall, he slipped me a tape cassette of this album. And I went home, played it, and the rest is history. I think this is a fantastic album. The big hit singles were Country House, of course, Stereotypes, Charmless Man, and The Universal is a glorious single. I absolutely love that song. And elsewhere, loads of good songs, 15 songs on this album. Entertain Me, Best Days, He Thought of Cars. This is an album I go back to time and time again. Damon Albarn, Graham Coxon, they were really on top form with this album. Blur, The Great Escape. My number 2 choice is this album. This is the Verve, Urban Hymns from 1997. And this was just a huge album at the time and big hit singles. The Verve really had taken over, it seemed, at this point. Everyone remembers Bittersweet Symphony, of course, which even to this day still gets played to death. Lucky Man was another big hit single, but The Drugs Don't Work was my preferred single. I thought that was absolutely beautiful, and it still is. But this album's strengths lie in the album tracks, things like Sonnet, Weeping Willow, This Time, Velvet Morning, Come On. Really heavy bluesy sounding songs, and Richard Ashcroft is a great singer, and they never sounded this good again. My number 2 is the Verve, Urban Hymns. But my number 1 choice goes to this album, the Manic Street Preachers, Everything Must Go. This is a signed copy. I slept on the streets of London one night so I could secure my place in the queue for a private gig, and was lucky enough to meet the band and get them to sign this brilliant album. I don't class the Manic Street Preachers as a Britpop band, but this is a very Britpop sounding album. Loads of guitars. James Dean Bradfield's such a great guitarist. Great guitar riffs and solos, and big anthemic choruses. The big hit singles, of course, A Design for Life, Kevin Carter, the title track, Everything Must Go, Australia, but brilliant songs elsewhere, Further Away, No Surface or Feeling, Nicky Wire, a brilliant lyricist, a brilliant band, a huge favourite of mine, and my number 1 goes to the Manic Street Preachers, Everything Must Go. A couple of honourable mentions, A Maximum High by Shed 7, Where Have You Been Tonight was a big favourite of mine, and also Ash 1977. I really loved Goldfinger, and Kung Fu was a great hit single. But what's your favourite album from this era? Please leave your comments below. Please give the video the thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to the channel. There'll be loads more to come. Thanks as always for watching. See you next time.